Hello, 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 and welcome to ER Emotional Response. This is Life Coaching with Ink. Ivory, how are you doing? I hope all is well, and I know all is well. Those that are listening under my voice, I always remind people to be grateful. Now that this is a delayed episode, mainly because it was my fault. I shifted things in my recording out of being impatient. I was uploading and it wasn't uploading as quick as I wanted it to. So I rebooted the whole system. And when I rebooted the whole system, it jammed my recording. And so I was in the balance of deleting the whole thing or just waiting, deleting the whole thing. And then I made the problem even harder because I saved it instead of undoing the upload. And it was just floating, just basically floating, existing, but not existing. And so that shifted everything. Because I couldn't record on the day I'm used to recording because it was a delay in publishing the last one. And those that are my faithful listeners, you know, I usually record on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm doing a brief part 2 on overextending yourself just to give clarity to certain things. And as I always tell you, nothing is ever all inclusive. There are exceptions to the rule. I am not always right. And you always know I'm an advocate for that. And the reason why I state I'm not always right, because I'm always learning. And there's always something new to learn, always something new to add. The minute you get to the point where you have arrived is the minute you have to step back and check yourself. You're an expert at being you, period. All your talents, you become more chiseled at, more precise at, but you're never at a point where you have arrived because you're always learning, you're always going. And even though there are some under my voice that don't listen to Jay-Z, but one of my favorite songs by him is my first song. And it's just talking about the concept of living out your talent as if you're doing it for the first time again and again. Again and again. That means the thrill stays there, the passion stays there, the hunger stays there, the insight stays there, the ability to grow stays there. So I want people to do that. Even if you're not in the hip hop world, even if you're not in the Jay-Z, that's something you want to live by because it'll benefit you. If you haven't heard me say before, I was in a company and one of my colleagues was 84 years old, and I asked him, what's the secret? He was up 2-3 o'clock in the morning while we was traveling down to DC, and he turned to me and said, I never stop learning. I never stop learning. I'm always growing. I'm always learning. And he was just as vibrant as a 25-year-old. It was freaking amazing. And so I impart that same truth to y'all. That same truth, that same energy, that same zeal. Treat it like it's your first time at everything. Now, continuing and finishing up this series on overextending yourself and not balling out of control. Before I go any further, I am going to talk about 10 ways to say no and be nice, because I don't want people to find power in saying no by being abrasive or mean to people. You could still handle things in a very tactful way. But even before I talk about that, when I talk about overextending yourself too, and I feel like I need to talk about this when it comes to calling, texting, seeing people, you have to treat relationships like a beautiful dance. And then when you think and you look on the dance floor and two people are moving in motion, if two people are on the same beat and they move into the same rhythm and their feet are in sync with one another, it becomes a beautiful dance. But when it's off sync and you don't hear the rhythm and your feet are all over the place, it becomes a scrambled picture. And you almost want to tap the people on the shoulder and say, sit down. It's not working. And so part of not overextending yourself is knowing when to be that tap on your own back and say it's not working. Scale back, fall back, chill out. If you're calling, and there's no reciprocation of the person returning any of your calls, if you're texting, then that person is not responding, emails, going over and constantly seeing them, and then you're getting irritated and frustrated because you feel like it's not being reciprocated, scale back. That moment or that time or that action when you scale back and fall back could be a moment where they get the moment to reciprocate. Sometimes we are hindering the ability for someone to reciprocate. Sometimes that's the case. Or it might be the case of them not even having the space in the interaction to even be aware of their actions, because it seems like you don't mind. You don't mind. Even though being passive exists, I've never seen a passive person that enjoyed being passive. You have to get a balance. I'm not saying you should be aggressive, but assertive is to be more suggested than anything. Because being assertive will allow you to be setting a standard, setting a platform, and understanding that being assertive is submission under power. No, power. Am I saying that right? Being assertive is power under submission. That's what I meant to say. It's like looking at a fraction the wrong way. It was in my head right, but it wasn't coming out right. Yeah. And so when you look at that, you understand. You can make a note of something. You can even vocalize it. But sometimes you play a part in things not running smoothly or becoming that beautiful dance. And this is not only in your social life. This is also in your professional life. It's good to be a go-getter and go after what you really want. And you got to understand that's a whole different realm of actions. It's good. You have to be aggressive. I want to get it. I have to push through the the resistance. I gotta push through the rejections. I have to push through the no responses. That's one thing, because you're going after something. But in connecting, in connecting with people, the dynamics is different. It should be like a beautiful dance. And then sometimes when you scale back, you or even the person realize it's not really working. It might not be nobody's fault, but it's not. You're like the two people on the dance floor that really shouldn't be dancing. Have a seat. So I just wanted to get that little nugget of truth. Something for you to consider and relating with others so you're not irritated, frustrated, angry, or sad because things are not working out. Enjoy the organic part of life, the natural effects of life. Some things can't be manufactured. Understand that. So, 10 ways to say no and be nice. Number 1, let me think about that. It's okay to tell people in the moment where they're looking for you to respond, let me think about it. Let me think about it. Because you might not have your words all together. You might not even really want to say no, but you know yes is not in the equation. So it's okay to say, let me think about it. Number 2, here's what will work for me. Here's what will work for me. Whatever's being presented to you, without you being so abrasive and just saying no and being blunt, here's what will work for me. And actually listing an alternative. Number 3, can I get back to you? Can I get back to you? That falls in line with the same thing as let me think about it. Can I get back to you? Number 4, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. And you might say to yourself, some of these sound like the same thing, because they are, but they said in different ways. All of them lead back to the word no, but it's being tactful in your dealings with others, whether it's professional or even socially, private or public. Number 5, I appreciate you asking, but I can't. I appreciate you asking, but I can't. Or you can even change that up and say, I appreciate you asking, but I don't want to. This is healthy communication. Number 6, I know this is important, but I can't. Or change it up, I know this is important, but I don't want to. That's being frank, but being tactful. Number 7, thanks, but this isn't going to work. Appreciating what's being presented before you, what you have, but it's not going to work for you. And that should be okay. Number 8,